All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I'm Justin, joined by Tanner, and we've got a special guest today. We've got our guy, Davis Warren, on the pod. We appreciate you. Davis, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So I want to do something here. Are we? Is that going to happen all day, Tanner, or what are we? Or is that Davis?
That was not
That's
me.
me.
Mine's on silent.
I'm doing
Jeez,
this.
jeez.
Special guest gets special treatment. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're
All right.
locked in now. We're locked in now.
All right, we're locked in. All right. I wanted to start with I wanted to go just position by position on the depth chart, and we'll start with I'll just go with like a random position that we'll start with. Why don't we just start with quarterback? I just kind of pick that out in my head. We can just walk through the depth chart here for you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We talked about it the other day that he was hounded by the media after the spring game on the depth chart. But I mean, at this point, everyone's possible QB1, right? That's really where it's at. You just never know. But we loved how you played in the spring game. Felt like you settled in after like the first couple possessions where it was like, all right, I'm like, the game slowed down and it felt like you were feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think, obviously the spring game at the end of the day is just like another practice for all of us.
Right.
But it does have a heightened importance, and like the precedent that Coach Harbaugh said about the spring game from my first year was like, it's a real football game, and we like teams get split up, and it does carry a little bit more weight than it feels like the other 14 practices. But I know we talked about it in the quarterback room with Coach Campbell. Like, man, this is just another chance for us to go operate the system, play the position we know how to play it, do what we've been doing all spring. And I feel like as a quarterback room, we really went out and did that for the most part. So. It's obviously a little bit more important, and it's fun being able to be in the big house and in front of the fans. But at the end of the day, it is just one of 15, and it's the only thing that you guys get to see. So
Right.
it's a heightened importance for everyone else. But for us, we in the quarterback room, we really just take it like Coach Campbell says, like every whatever day we have practice, he's like, man, let's make this the best Tuesday or Saturday or Sunday of the year, and that applies all the way through the season. So. He kind of sets up that mindset for us, and I think we all carry it really, really well.
How has the transition been? Obviously Jim Harbaugh goes to the Chargers, and some folks follow, and so some new faces in the building. On the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball. How has that transition been with Sharon's obviously been there your entire time at Michigan. He was there a majority of Harbaugh's tenure. But anytime you change coaches, it's obviously going to be a little bit different. Each guy is going to want to run the program and practice and, game planning and situational things the way that they want to do it. So what's that been like, going from Coach Harbaugh to Coach Moore? And it seems like they're kind of two peas in a pod, but, Sharon definitely seems a little bit different. He's definitely more savvy in front of the media. So I'd love to know what it's been like over the last few months.
Yeah, I think just, the way I kind of look at it is, just if you go down the line, the whole building pretty much from Coach Moore to Coach Campbell to Coach Wink to Coach Tress, the strength coach, to pick out any position of a guy who got drafted in the top whatever, including quarterback. So that includes all of us. Like, it's just, we've got to see that position, whether it's head coach, head strength coach, OC, quarterback, operated at an incredibly high level. And we all got to see that firsthand, and got to experience it and got to see what happens when you perform at a really high level. Obviously ending a national championship. And so now it's our turn to just take that added responsibility, and everyone's prepared for it. Whether it's me, whether it's Coach Truss, whether it's Coach Campbell, Coach Moore, we're all prepared, and the people before us prepared us to take that next step. And we're just going to keep going about our business in like the same way. And I think Coach Truss did a great job. Like when Coach Herb left, I thought we were going to come in first workout without Coach Herb. Like, what's it going to be like? He didn't say a word, and we just went and trained and had our day. and did the stuff that we had to do in the weight room. And then we got done, and he was, and he pulled us all together, and he was like, man, did that feel really different? And the answer was no. It's the same. The standard's been set. The culture's been set. All those things have been set. And I think the same thing has applied like this whole spring. Like I remember the first spring ball practice, you get the scripts before, and it's in the same font. It's with the schedule's the same way. Yeah. It's in the same format. And the way that we went about things, it was the same that I've had the last 2 years. And then you get out to practice, and obviously it's a little different without Coach Harbaugh out there for quarterbacks because he's pretty involved with the quarterback room, but the standard's still the same. So I think Coach Moore's done a great job of keeping a lot of those things that Coach Harbaugh did, a little more music here and there in practice sometimes and different things like that. But overall it's been the same sort of structure. And I think it's allowed all of us who are in new positions, elevated, positions of importance to really feel comfortable and feel like, like we know that we can thrive in this kind of culture and in the building.
So real quick, Justin, I just want to ask, so it sounds like the biggest difference is probably less wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and maybe some more modern music that you guys are into.
Definitely some more modern music. And a little
what about
louder.
For He's a Jolly Good Fellow?
Yeah, we haven't done a He's a Jolly Good Fella or Wreck of the Edmund Fitz. I mean, listen, that what is that? Is that in October? That's that day?
October, November, somewhere in there.
It's
to
be seen whether or not Coach Moore will play that. Everyone's just going to be waiting on the edge of their seat to see what happens.
That's what I'm most worried about.
How different is Coach Moore than everyone else? Is the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald going to be played over and over and over on October whatever? So,
I mean that is let's put it in our calendars. That's we've got to get a countdown going till that day, and then I think we'll need to know exactly what's going on there.
Exactly.
I was downtown at the draft with some of you boys on Friday, and I was talking to Brady about this, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, everybody's just like boys in the building, and it's not just like you guys in your house, right? Because I know that you guys in your house, which is you, Brady, Peyton O'Leary, Joe T, like it's not you guys, just you guys that are boys." He's like, "No, I'm like we're boys with the equipment staff and like Jesse with the grad, assistants and then your coaches even I feel like are all just like everyone is like boys in that building." And I think back to 3-4 years ago, pre 2020, like I don't think that was the case at all. Like guys like did their business, got there, wanted to get the hell out of the locker room. Like it wasn't a vibe, and now it is. And obviously winning a natty helps the culture, right? Like there's no doubt about that, right? Winning cures all, right? They always say that. But like tell us about just the vibes and from just chilling, just doing it all, and like how that will translate to you guys hopefully succeeding this fall.
Yeah, I mean Brady's spot on. Like it is a really tight-knit group, and a lot of the guys that are coming back, we're all good buddies and hang out in the facility and out of the facility, and just that chemistry that we all have with each other. We like hanging out, and I think it just translates into on the field stuff because we want to have fun out there. We enjoy each other's company, but we also we're all kind of wired the same way of we want to be hyper competitive, we want to win, and we know when it's time to handle our business that it's going to get handled in an appropriate way. And it also helps when everyone's really tight, especially this kind of group of upperclassmen we have and, leaders that like we feel comfortable of calling each other out. And, we're close enough where we know that we can all work together and we're all working in the same direction at the end of the day. And what needs to get said or done will get said or done. So I think that's just been really helpful to have that kind of group that is all really tight, and you'll see it. You saw it last year, the way that the team kind of rallied together, and you'll definitely see it this year where, man, we just look like we're having fun out there playing ball, and that's definitely going to continue.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Tanner.
Well, I was going to say when, watching Michigan, there's no hate in your heart. There's no, it's not negative as far as like, trash talking. And yeah, there's jawing and things like that. But it's really such a positive kind of outpouring from the team when you watch you guys play football. It's just love for one another and excitement over whoever makes the play. And you don't see that all the time. A lot of times guys at different universities across the country in the NFL really just want to make a statement, kind of do like almost Allen Iverson over Tyronn Lue, like step over somebody, like make their point. And you guys are really just that fun loving team that just goes and handles business, like you said. So my question to you, Davis, is, as you continue to step into more leadership, one of the older guys on the team, while you're still much younger than us, as we talked about in our previously unrecorded podcast or unreleased podcast. But how do you see, you see the guys coming in, whether it's, some guys that are transfers that come from a different college culture or the guys coming in from high school, the thing that I've, seen from all of you guys is just how important being a player-led program is. How do you make sure that that's continues and is sustainable, with Jim Harbaugh leaving and some of the coaches leaving, just making sure that, when Blake leaves and JJ leaves and Mikey and all these guys, like, how do you keep that going?
I think it's a good question. That's a
Thank you
right there. I would say, I think even just like Jay Sean coming in, the kid from Maryland, like, I think he realized off from the start, he was like, oh, wow, this place is different. And like the level of accountability that you're held to here is not like anywhere else, I think. And even the new strength coaches we got from Northwestern, we got 2 new guys coming in and they realized it too. Even in that first couple of weeks, I asked them, I was like, hey, like, what do you find is the biggest difference? And they were like, man, just the way you guys like police each other and the way you guys like coach each other. And he's like, our jobs are easy. Like, he's like, at North, at wherever they were at before, they felt like it was a little bit more of,
and seriously, this is probably no hate to Maryland, no hate to Northwestern, right? It's literally just like you guys, it internally that you guys are upholding yourself to a better standard.
Well, and we got to remember that we are talking to Davis Warren of the 2023 15-0 national champions. So higher standard, higher level of performance.
Yeah, it's there. And obviously there's a ton of talent, but I think it goes back to the type of, it's easier to institute that culture and to feel that when you bring the right guys in. And like Jay Sean fits in perfectly. Josiah Stewart, obviously he made the big play in against Alabama, and he's a guy who came in and just like totally attacked it and understood the culture. And now he's a leader. He's only been here for a year. And it just kind of shows like the type of culture that we have where guys want to come in and they want to be a part of it. And they understand kind of the standard that's been set. And it's easy to follow it when you have guys who want to follow it and be a part of it. And so it's like, hey, get in line and get on the train. I remember my freshman year, Coach Harbaugh, like before we even played a game, I was like, damn, I think we're pretty good. And coming off that 2-4 year, I knew nothing, obviously, but I was like, I think we're a pretty good football team. And he said after that first game, like, no one's on the bandwagon now, but you better get on because we're going to roll. And he was spot on with that because obviously we've rolled and it's so true. Like you either get on the bandwagon and get on the train and rolling in the right direction, or get off and leave. And Coach Moore talks about that every day. Like every day you put your finger in that fingerprint scanner to come to the building, like recommit to being the best person you can be for this team and for this program and everyone in the building. And it's really shown itself. And it's because we talk about it so much.
Yeah. And I think that you look at what Aiden Hutchinson's legacy is, right? And then, the next year and then, JJ, Blake and Mikey and anybody who just got drafted, right? There's 15, guys that are now in the NFL. But I think a lot of people would point to like Aiden's legacy is the Ohio State game in 2021 where he has 3 sacks, or JJ and Blake, their legacies are the Rose Bowl and, that final drive and everything like that. But I think that the reality is their legacy is the impact they've had on the culture and the standard that they've set for you guys in that building every single day. And that's how their legacy is lasting beyond when they're in that building, beyond when they're in that Michigan uniform. And it's pretty obvious now to hear you talk about it with like, all right, you just lost insane talent, insane guys, right? Like unbelievable guys that are now no longer, you know, in practice and in the locker room every day, but the standard's still there. Don't you think that that's actually the legacy that lasts for them, right?
I think you said it perfectly, and I think even we talked about it before spring ball started. Like Coach Campbell was like, "Hey, like obviously it's going to be different, like being out there, and like Trevor Keegan's not out there, or Zach Zinner's not out there, or Blake's not out there. Like that's going to be different, and it's on us as quarterbacks to uphold the standard that has been set." And I think just being able to have that conversation where it's like those guys, and before then it was, oh, like Hutch isn't here anymore. Like it's on that at that point it was on Blake and Zint and Keegs and, you know, Cornelius Johnson. Like, hey, we got to uphold that standard on the practice field every day, player led. And the fact that those conversations happen where it's like they did that, now it's your turn. Like the fact that that happens just shows how important that is to this program. And that was something that was big this spring was it's on all of us to step up and be that leader and to lead by example and to show that we're still about our business and that nothing's going to change.
Davis, I'd love to know your thoughts on some of the, you know, younger receivers, some of the guys that are really stepping into their own. I know you had a nice connection with Freddie Moore, who I was very excited watching in the spring game. You know, Kendrick Bell, Ronnie's little brother. It's going to be great to have another Bell on the roster. And, you know, obviously Tyler Morris. I don't think he was on your team. I can't recall. But he was showing some of that speed that he showed in that Alabama game in the Rose Bowl. And obviously, you know, you've got Colson Loveland, you've got Brady, you've got all the running backs. Marlon Klein looks like he's coming on. Like, what can you say about the weapons that this team has where, yes, you lose Roman Wilson, you lose CJ, you lose Blake, you bring back Donovan, you bring back Khalil, you've got some younger guys in the mix. How excited are you about this group of skill position weapons that you have on this offense?
Yeah, I think super excited. And I think they all this spring totally stepped up to the plate. All the guys that, you know, obviously guys like Tyler Morris and Samaj and Peyton have contributed in certain amounts throughout the year, last year. But they definitely were obviously a backseat to, you know, Roman and a CJ. And so for them to be able to step up in this spring and against a really good secondary and be like, we got to make plays. And this, you know, this is on us now. And so for those guys, they stepped up. And then on top of that, the young guys, Fred Moore, Kendrick, Marlon Klein, guys like that who didn't contribute much last year, they were like, you know, it's time for me to make a name for myself. And they all did that and then some. So it was just really cool. And to have that, you know, we put a lot of work in the winter, getting out throwing and saying like, we're not going to be the group that lets this team down. You know, it's on us to be, because that was probably, you know, we losing JJ, losing all those guys, like the O-line as well, but the offense as a whole, like we have to take that next step up and elevate ourselves. And we all kind of committed to that, and to see it, you know, manifest itself in the spring game, but through every practice, we, you know, you win some, you lose some against the defense, but I think as a whole, we really took a big step up and proved to ourselves and then to the whole team that like you can trust us. And when you need us, when plays need to be made, like we're going to make those plays and operate with precision and detail. That really happened. So I think like I said, all the guys you mentioned, they're going to be studs for us this year, and they all took a big step up, and I'm really proud of all of them.
And you talked about this defense and the secondary and everything. Do you have empathy for Jalen Milroe of what he had to go up against?
Like every quarterback we played last year. It's like, obviously I'm not getting hit in practice, so it's a little bit different, but there are times where I would like have gotten just absolutely destroyed. And it's a credit to, you know, that defense, and there's a ton of really good players on that defense. And I think what happened in the spring for us was great is we got the chance to go up against them every single day. And for our offensive line and for me as a quarterback, for our receivers, tight ends, all of them, to know like, hey, we better bring our A game today, or else we're gonna get, you know, our ass handed to us. And like for lack of a better term. And I think we stepped up to the plate, and I'm so proud of all the guys in the room because we really gave them a run for their money and knew that this is we took it as an opportunity, not as a burden. We took it as an opportunity, and knowing that whoever we play this year, whatever defenses we play, probably won't be as good as the one we're facing in practice, and that's a credit to the defense, and that's a credit to us as an offense for stepping up to the plate, and it made for some really fun practices and fun days where, man, it was a battle every single day. We were prepared for it, so it was fun.
Were there ever times though where you're just like, Coach, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, that dude just made the most unbelievable play I've ever seen.
I mean, there were some things like that, and you got to give credit to those guys and being great players on defense. So, but we got them. We got them too. So we made them work for it.
It's almost a better feeling then when you know that they're like you're going up against possibly 3 top 10, top 15 picks on that defense, and a lot more that are going to go throughout a year from now in the draft in Lambeau. It's got to feel even a little bit better. Like, all right, everyone talks about this defense, right? Everyone, all that stuff.
I love it. All this chatter about the defense and the offense is going to be this or that, and we just put our head down and worked, and it definitely it was like I love it every second of this. Like, I love being the underdog. Put us behind the 8 ball and watch us surprise you. So I think we all took that mindset, and it's gonna pay dividends in the fall when they're making plays and we're celebrating, and then when we're making plays and they're getting hyped for us. So it'll be fun. I can't wait.
What are your thoughts on Wink Martindale so far? Because just as an outsider who follows him on Twitter, I think one of his first posts was like the F around and find out meme. He seems just like a player's coach, just kind of a guy's guy. Like, what is your impression of him? Obviously, he's not your coordinator, but I'm sure you're seeing a lot of him in practice, and he's probably getting pretty fired up with all the talent that he's got.
I think the term that defines him best is just a football guy.
He's the definition of a football guy.
Football guy's guy.
If you look up him in like Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Yeah, he wears wide receiver gloves when he works out.
Big Drake fan.
He always has the white undershirt with the cutoff hoodie. That's his signature look, and he looks like a stud.
Yeah.
And loves football. He loves defense. Obviously, he's coached a lot of incredible players, and he's going to get the opportunity, and he's gotten the opportunity to do the same thing here with the guys that we have on defense. And I think all the guys love him. So it was a great pickup by Coach Moore, and it'll show itself in the fall when you see kind of the level that defense is going to play at. And he truly, like, he self-coined himself the OG, and he is the OG.
He's the OG of that defensive scheme. Well, real quick, Justin, I'm sorry, I keep doing this, but I just wanted to follow up on that. What is it like? And we talked about the player-led dynamic of the program. What's it like when a guy like Brad Hawkins comes back to work with the program, a guy that was a part of the 2021 Big Ten championship team? What's that like when you got those guys that were there when you were a little bit younger coming back to be a part of the program?
I think it's really cool. And when I saw that he was hired, I was fired up because he's a Michigan man. I think before Mike Barrett beat him out, he had the most starts in Michigan history, I think.
He committed to Michigan before Jim Harbaugh ever coached a game at Michigan. That's how long he had been there.
He was, and when I was a freshman, he was one of those senior guys that I was like, wow, that's a guy who does stuff the right way. And, was committed to being the best version of himself and was a big part of that defense in 21. And I was, being a scout team guy, I spent a lot of time around him, and he was awesome and was nothing but great to me. And so to see him come back and with all the wisdom he has to keep, like I said, like, he's been a part of it. He knows what it looks like. And obviously that 21 team didn't finish the year exactly how we wanted to, but that 21 team set the table for 22 and obviously 23 to be really successful. So he knows what it's like. And that for him to be able to maintain that and impart that onto the younger guys, especially in the role as a coach, is really awesome, and knows the system and can relate to the guys. And he's already done great things with a loaded secondary. And I think he's just going to keep elevating that room to a new level.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is, are we just like a sleeveless program now? Like, Coach Moore's got the vest. Wink's got no sleeves. Kirk goes vest a lot too.
Yeah, Coach Campbell is a big vest guy. We discussed that a lot in the QB room. You know, his vest game. Coach Bellamy loves a good vest.
Yep.
Steve Kasula, who's back with the program, who was there in 21, another guy, Tanner, you talked about, who was kind of there and then left and came back, even just in a coaching role. Yeah, a lot of vests, and a lot of like kind of that sleeveless hoodie look, which I personally don't rock, but a lot of the guys, that's kind of.
You got to, if you're gonna do it, you gotta, like, you better be doing biceps. Like,
yeah, you got to big arms for that.
And Coach Wink, he's hitting those a lot. So he's
a lot. Yeah,
curls for the girls, huh?
Well suited for that sort of. And Coach Moore, he's a hoss. He's a big dude. Yeah. So, and he's jacked. So that's it might be. I mean, you might in the fall get out there and see the whole coaching staff, vested or sleeveless.
We could. Like, I don't know if you saw the Lions front office all wore black Dan Campbell jerseys yesterday, which was elite. We might have to have the coaching staff do all Coach Moore or Wink, but like just one day wear the Wink outfit.
I think that would be phenomenal. I think Max told me that because his older brother plays for the Giants, and I guess they ran into Coach Wink and his family in like Times Square in New York or something. Like something like that, like in New York when Max went out there for a game, and he still had it on. Like he had, so he's committed to it, and he looks great. He's also a big golfer, so he had like a Nike Golf 1 too that he was rocking.
I love
it. And I don't know if he wears it on the course or not, but I'm gonna have to find out.
Yeah, I mean that's just that's him of like. Why wear something different? I know this works.
We need that though. Like that was Harbaugh, right?
It's like
wearing the same things.
Coach Harbaugh, Steve Jobs kind of wearing the same thing every day. I think Zuckerberg might do it too. It's like,
Zuck's changing it up though. Zuck's, I don't know if you guys saw Zuck. This is completely off topic. He's got the beard. He's got a chain. He's got some curls in his hair. I don't know. Marketing. We were talking with Davis before. He's got some marketing stuff. Their marketing team's going crazy over at Meta/Facebook. They're getting after it.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe I think it's just if you're a genius and just at the top of your field, you gotta streamline your decision making by decreasing the amount of decisions you have to make in a day that aren't related to whatever you're doing. So
exactly,
I think it's a good thing.
I think we've been talking about doing like themed tailgates for each like for Oregon, maybe like a camo like hunter look because we could be duck hunting.
Yep. I love that.
We could just do like everyone wears the Wink outfit one time.
It would be easy. All you need is an old hoodie. Yeah. You cut the sleeves off, and you got a little white undershirt on, and there it is.
I love it. We might have to do that.
He has like the Oakley like sunglasses, So
yeah, have it Shaw in. That's a must as well. Yeah, we might have to go with that.
Yeah, seriously, I like it.
Have the chew can poking out of your back pocket. I feel like that's a football guy move. That was Coach Harbaugh. I'm sure Wink on the sideline, you see him, probably got it poking out. So we may have to do that as well.
So you were at JJ's draft party, right? So I mean, I saw his parents on Friday as well. Gave them a big hug. I mean, that's got to be just so much fun to watch your boy just live out his dream. And I know he is so thankful and just a very special person for, he's so thankful for all the people that have gotten him to where he is now. And so what was it like being there with that whole squad and watching him get his name called?
It was great. It was really cool and just kind of surreal. Always feeling like, sorry. The 1 hour, I guess, turned off or something. I don't know what happened there. Obviously, the like you always think about it, you're like, yeah, he is really like a top whatever draft pick. Like that's cool. But then to actually hear his name get called and to see him, with the Vikings hat on, and it was just an incredible thing. And he's such a good kid and so grateful for all of us to, like he said, like he gave a little speech before and was just appreciative and wanted to have it not be in Detroit because he wanted to just have as many people that helped him along his path as he could. And whether it was his quarterback coach back from Chicago or high school coaches or Pop Warner coaches, like they were all there. And then Coach Campbell and Coach Moore and his whole family, JJ's whole family being there. And so it was just a really cool thing and cool to be able to share it with him and spending us coming in at the same time and kind of seeing his development and us kind of working on different things together and trying to push him to be the best quarterback he could be and me chasing him and in as many ways as I could. It was just really special. So I was just fired up for him and he's going to ball. I can guarantee that. All the Vikings fans out there, he's going to do his thing and he's in a great situation there. And so it's really cool.
Yeah, man, I'm so pumped for him. He does we're diehard Lions guys on this pod for the most part. He looks really good in purple and gold. I'll say that.
I need to get one of those throwback jerseys. Those things are sweet. I might need to invest.
Yeah, no, he's in a great position there. I just the people that talked, everyone's going to talk their shit, all the rivals and, Ohio State people and everyone else that doesn't, they just say JJ throws the ball off, or hands the ball off, not throws the ball off.
That's a stupid claim. I mean, what are we talking about?
I mean, there's so many, I know obviously we ran the ball a lot, but he also made some unbelievable plays with his arm too.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. People can say what they want.
You saw it in practice too.
NFL executives know better than Joe Schmo on Twitter. So
exactly, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say is listen, you can have your narrative, you can have your thought, and even I think some Michigan fans may have some hesitance on if he's going to be a great NFL QB, right? My response to that is always listen, I'm not gonna doubt him. He's proven everybody wrong all this way. If I'm going to put, if you got to tell me, all right, hey, you got to put your chips in one side or the other, if he's going to be great or not, I'm betting on him because just knowing him and knowing the way that he operates, he's going to do everything he needs to. That kid is unreal. And I'm until he proves me wrong, I'm going to think that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm in the same boat. I'm on the train, the JJ train, all the way to the promised land. He's done it once. He'll do it again, and he's just a winner. So he's going to find a way to make it happen. And whether it's football or golf or spike ball, the guy just wins. So
he wins.
Hockey. That was a big talking point. Yeah. Davis, have you guys as quarterbacks had any practice one-handing balls off the jugs machine, just in preparation for some sort of poor Donovan pass? Well, I shouldn't say that about Donovan, but it was just a tough scenario. But I just wanted to make sure that if that scenario does come up again, that you guys are ready, because you talk about his athleticism. That was freakish.
We have not worked on that. That'll be a summer project. We'll all get out there and we'll rep it. We have a drill set up already, Coach Campbell. We've been working on that the whole season. We've been practicing that every week, the one-handed catch and turn and throw, and then have
laces
land on your face. So he
was prepared for the moment when it came, right?
What was your reaction, David? So we're at the Pretzel, but Justin was at the game, but a lot of us were at the Pretzel Bell, and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. And then I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get murdered. And then flips his hips around, no laces, perfect spiral somehow, which that's not easy to do without the laces. Just puts it on a dime to Roman. What was your thought process when you're watching this? Oh, JJ's about to get lit up
so fast. I was just I couldn't even believe it. I was just, obviously knowing what the play was called and knowing that, we've been working on it. We were ready to run it and we were, thought it was going to be a big hitter. And you're just kind of keeping your eye on that backside D end and hoping he doesn't read the play out. But even before the snap, he was pointing the other direction from the direction in which JJ was going to end up being. So I was like, oh no. And then just Donovan putting a good throw out there and then JJ obviously making an incredible play with that guy bearing down on him.
Well, that's a teammate now. That's Dallas Turner. They're teammates.
Obviously a really good player, and we we knew he was a great player, and he showed that he was a great player because he almost broke it up and diagnosed the play so fast. So it was unreal. Hard to really have any other term for it.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna they might watch that play together a few times and
They might.
maybe rib each other.
Well, did you guys see at his press conference? He said he unfollowed JJ on Instagram for a little bit because he was a little upset about that loss. Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny. So okay, talking about the Rose Bowl. I think we haven't really heard from you or any of your teammates yet on this podcast of just living that run, that national championship run from your perspective.
Yeah.
We have all talked at length about how it was, some of the greatest days of our lives. And a lot of us have gotten married and had children and gotten, those types of things. But, we're trying to be very cognizant of when our wives are in the building to, make sure we keep that wedding day up there above the Rose Bowl day and the national championship day. But, from your perspective, like you're in first person view of everything from the start of the season in weights and practice, and then it all comes together and you go on. First of all, the season was long as fuck. The longest season ever when you go, when you go as far as you did. But how special were all those moments? And can you even put it is it all a blur, or can you look back to some things, or is it like you guys sit in your house there on the porch and you're just like, holy shit, I just remembered this one moment from this that you hadn't even talked about yet?
I mean, there's I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, there's so many moments and memories and things. I was like, oh wow, that really did happen, and that happened, and like, oh my gosh, that happened, and like all this stuff. So it's just like it's hard to really quantify it and feel like there's one feeling that can, describe the whole experience, because obviously there's. I mean, my do not disturb is on. I don't know what.
Julia, he's fine. Leave him alone.
It's actually Max about
Freddie. What the fuck, man?
Yeah. To ask me about golf shoes. Obviously, there's a lot of memories that come up and in my head, and I think, beating Ohio State and that whole whirlwind of coach not being there and stuff like that is like so many, like, as I talked about earlier, like guys having to step up, like Coach Moore stepping up to the plate and being the guy that we needed him to be for Penn State and Ohio State, and even the Maryland game, which was a tougher game than a lot of people, I think, remember.
Yeah.
And realize if you go back and watch that game, that was a close game for a long time. And Mikey and other guys, and, Derek Moore and guys stepped up and made big plays. But I think even just from that Rose Bowl to the Natty, it's such a tight time frame after having such a long break. It was so weird because it was like all this build up to the Rose Bowl of, knowing we're going to play Bama. It's like, okay, Alabama Rose Bowl is going to be a huge game. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks of prep, Christmas, getting out to LA, being out there, practicing, preparing, going the Rose Bowl for the first time, seeing it, and then the game. And then you turn around and it's like 6 days later, you're playing Washington for the Natty. Right. And it just, that whole thing happened so fast. I think you really, there was not even a break. It was just a turnaround and, all right, here we go again. Let's make it happen after, you have the season where it's just week after week of game, which was really like blowout,
right,
being won by a lot. And then you have such a long break and then such a big win. And then you have to come off that and turn around and do it again. It was just, it all happened so fast. So as I look back on it, I'm just grateful to be a part of it and feeling like just seeing it firsthand. It was like, wow, that was really something special and meant so much to so many fans around Michigan and around the world. It felt like, honestly, just the fact that we can make it happen is just, and finishing. I felt like I even said after the spring game, like closing it out with the ring ceremony. It was just, every time you think about it, you just smile. And I'm sure you guys have that same reaction, just being grateful for the opportunity and thinking about like, wow, we really did the damn thing. So
we did that.
I was going to ask about the ring ceremony and what it was like, getting Team 144 back together with everybody going kind of their separate ways to the draft or, graduation and aren't going to be playing next year. What was that like getting everybody back together? And then second part of that question, do you have the rings handy, to be able, this would be a great thumbnail for us personally.
I do not have
guys.
them handy. They are safe in a alternate location.
That's smart.
So I do not have them handy. But I would, so sorry about that. But I think, just getting everyone back together was so cool. Like Coach Minner and Coach Harbaugh, seeing him again. And obviously him being out in my neck of the woods out there in LA is cool to talk to him about that. And just that, like, even when I think Mikey or Blake got up, like, for the rest of our lives, like, those reunions will be really special, and having that group and all those guys will be guys that all, remember for the rest of my life is just really solid dudes. And every single one of them would, can be the godfather of my kids. That's how great all of them are. So that's kind of a great way to describe it. I think it's just all great guys who came together and did something really, really special. So.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Penn State game. Like, people forget about that game even sometimes, because, like, when you think about all right, what's the top 5 moments of this season, and you're listing them out, and then you think about that Penn State game specifically. Like, I remember talking to my dad leading up to that game, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is the most important game in Michigan football history right now, because all the stuff, all the scandal stuff, right, comes out, and then it's just Coach Warren, you guys. And if that game doesn't go our way, then everything is like, that's the media narrative is, they only did it because they stole signs. As soon as they couldn't do it anymore, then they lost. And almost everything of the last 3 years is kind of erased, all those accomplishments. Did you guys know, like, obviously there's so much going on. You probably are just like, what? I don't even know what to think right now. But did you have any idea, like, the gravity of that situation and, like, the grander scheme of things?
I think there was a little bit of that feeling, but, like, coach, and it goes back to Coach Herb, like, his whole thing of, like, who gives a F? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, nothing matters. Whether it's, I think Blake talked about it, like, in a winter training cycle, he would just everyone would have a playing card, and he would be like, well, what's the lucky number today? Okay, if you have a 5, you're going to go jump in the cold tub, work out. Don't have any reaction to it, just do it.
Yep.
And I think that whole, like, neutral mindset of never getting too high, never getting too low, like, that's really what drove us that whole year. And it didn't matter what the situation, and that showed itself when we played Penn State, and it felt like everything was on the line, and, like, our reputation was on the line, when we felt like thinking about the scandal, like, this is so dumb. Like, we didn't even know, so it was just like, this is ridiculous. And we just need to keep doing our thing. 'Cause whether the scandal was there or not, we knew we had to win that football game if we wanted to achieve our goals of winning a natty. Right. So it was just that singular focus and that mindset of feeling that. I think probably you guys on Twitter felt more of because if we lost, you would have had to defend this program to the
fighting for our lives.
Oh my, yeah.
So I apologize for that you guys had to be in that situation, but I'm glad
I hope you
Why
I appreciate
you apologizing to us?
We alleviated those concerns.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you agnowledging just that we're on the front lines for you.
Yeah, trenches. Real trenches.
People don't understand how hard it is for us to put those thumbs together and put a good tweet.
My great-grandfather fought in Korea, and I'm fighting on Twitter, bro.
Max of the term of, like, a foxhole guy. So it's like, who would you want in your foxhole? And you guys are foxhole guys.
Wow.
That is big props. We appreciate it.
This is up there.
I will go to war with Mr. Ohio on Twitter to defend Michigan's honor any moment. Whenever you need me, I got you. Davis, real quick, I wanted to touch on this, and I don't want to get away from this conversation we're having, but are you going to visit Coach Harbaugh at his RV? Do you think he truly is just living at the RV? It just seems preposterous.
Listen, I don't know. I do know he's a RV enthusiast, and he's a simple guy. And like he said in that video, I mean, shout out to, speaking of social media, the Chargers' social media is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
They do a great job. And but he's a simple guy, and so I would not be surprised if he was living in the RV. I think if he could, he would have parked an RV on State Street and lived in that, and just come into the facility every morning. So
again, that's like streamlining. Like, why would I live farther away from the facility if I could just live in the parking lot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and he's doing the same thing with the Chargers. I know with the Chargers' new facility in LA, like he just wants to be close to it. So, and close to the one like the one that they have right now, and the closest thing is an RV. So, and it makes the most sense for him. I think I don't know where the rest of his family's at right now, but he's in the RV and he's enjoying it. And so I don't know. I probably should. It's not that far from where I live, so I probably should go down there and check it out. But
you should.
I don't want to get roped into like having to spend the night down there or anything. So,
well, hey, I loved in that video. He's like, the best sleep you ever get is when it's raining on an RV, and then he does like a rain hitting the metal roof, like sound. Yeah, it was electric. He's got Greg Roman there. They're drinking like diet soda, sitting in reclining chairs. It's incredible.
I love that guy. He's the man.
Yeah. I don't know about like spending the night in the RV with Jim though. Because I do know like I mean you would get about 1 million stories. But I know for sure that you like if you just said the wrong thing, he'd be like, yeah, all right, you're staying, and then you can't get out of that. Like
you're staying, you're locked in for the night.
Yeah.
I mean that RV park, I kind of know where that is. It's a beautiful spot. So people travel far and wide too.
Is that down in like Orange County or?
Yeah, it's down in like Costa Mesa or something. So
okay,
I don't know if because of that video he needs security now, or if they released the video after he's done living in the RV. Hopefully, so he's not getting hawked. But it seemed like the people around him in classic kind of Charger Southern California fashion, like didn't even know who he was. So
they got too much going on, man. We don't have that much going on here, so it's a different culture for sure.
Yeah, so. But it's classic Coach Harbaugh, and I love it.
All right. So this summer and going into the fall, obviously you're working, competing for a starting QB spot. We're rooting for you for sure. Is there something specifically that you're working on, or like what's going to be the plan for this summer for you to be the best come September?
Yeah, I think I was talking about with Coach Campbell, just being a guy being a leader, and I think being a guy that this team can trust, because being a quarterback is more than just throwing the football, and more than just being able to make the right reads and all that stuff. And I feel like I do all that at a high level, and obviously there's room for me to improve there, and I'm going to work my butt off this summer to be the best quarterback I can be on the field. But just as important is being a guy that this team can trust, and being a foxhole guy, truly. And I think that's a great way to describe it, and having the trust of the guys. And I think that was a big thing for me this spring, was obviously coming off the injury last year. I had to prove to this team that I could be the guy, and that I was healthy and ready to roll and play the position at a high level, because JJ set a really high standard here. And that was one of my goals this spring, is to, uphold that standard as well as I could, and to play at a level where these guys could trust me going into battle. And I think I've done that, and I'm going to continue to do that going into these summer workouts, and feeling like they can trust me to lead this team to win games in the fall. And like I said before, like the guy who's out there is just a product of the room. And it was the way with JJ. It'll be that way with whoever is out there in the fall. Hopefully it's me, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. And we're just going to do our best to win football games for this team. And whoever it is, we all have to be ready, because anything can happen. Obviously, JJ did a great job staying, healthy these last 2 years. And there were times when I was the backup, where I thought I was going to have to go in the game and be prepared. So whoever is the starter or the backup, I know we're all going to be prepared to lead this team to win games, because we do have a damn good football team. And the standard of a championship, and beating Ohio State and beating Michigan State now beat USC and Oregon and Texas and Washington. Like, that hasn't changed. So it's going to be fun. And I think for me personally, like this summer of just that idea of continuing to prove to this team that they can trust me and be a foxhole guy. That's a main focus for me.
I love it.
I'm fired up.
Yeah, hell
like,
yeah.
Is it September yet? Is it August yet? Like, let's go, man.
I'm like ready for the season. I'm spring ball's obviously just a stepping stone, but I wish it was September right now. You look over at the big house and be like, every time I go by that thing, I envision in my head of 110,000 and that burnt orange and white on the other side, or Ohio State or whoever it is, and being like, let's roll. So it's exciting.
We had a good chunk of our tailgate crew together yesterday, and it was 80 degrees outside. We were drinking Blue by 90 beers. Shout out North Peak Brewing. And we were ready. I think we talked there. It was a diaper party for our buddy who's having a baby here soon. I don't think we talked about the baby one time, but we talked about Michigan football the entire day.
It was basically like when I walked in, I was like, hey, do you guys remember when Michigan won the Rose Bowl and then won the national championship? Like, that's basically our conversation. I'm like, dude, remember that? Like, it was 3 months ago, but yeah, I remember it.
We do this, like I said, we do the same thing in this house. Remember when we won the Natty?
That's a classic, like living with the boys. Like you just make those comments. And well, I was gonna ask Davis, I actually, I'm not even gonna say that because it would make me sound like a tool. But when you win a national championship, when was the moment that the mindset switches? Right, you're enjoying it, you're celebrating, and was it the first, practice of spring ball? Like, when is that kind of mentality shift of like, all right, time to go do it again?
Oof. I think once the workout started, we were pretty much well on our way, and I think obviously there was some question marks of who was your coach or this or that. But I think once Coach Moore and the staff was set, that's when it was truly felt like, okay, it's time to roll again, and we're not satisfied. And that I talk something that I've kind of thought about is, and I've talked about with Coach Campbell and stuff, is like when you get to the top, obviously it's great, and being at the top of the mountain is an incredible feeling. But what you realize like pretty quickly is like what you loved about it was the climb and like the journey to get there, and realizing, and I think we've all realized that, is like, that's what you love. And that's the cool part about this team, is I think we have a group of guys who love the climb and the chase, and that the national title was great, but the opportunity to go do it again is like, makes the hair stand up on your arm a little bit and gets you excited. So I think we all kind of feel that way, and that the chase is what we love. And when you have a group of guys like that, like, that's why you have the guys who've come before. That's why they're going to be great in the pros, because they're not resting on, they don't want to just rest on being national champs. They want to do even more than that. And Coach Harbaugh is clearly that way, because he's going to go do it at the next level. And Coach Moore's that way because he's hungrier than ever to make it happen and do it in an elevated role. And so we're all kind of feeling that way, and it's going to be exciting.
I mean, it's the Tom Brady mentality. The best ring is the next one, right?
Yeah. I love that saying. It's a little corny, but I do like it.
Yeah. It is, I mean, it's like, it's very cliche and used now, right? But
yes.
But it really is like, I feel like now, I think you guys have gotten the taste of it, right? And you look at the Bamas and the Georgias and the Clemsons who do this, or have done this over and over again, right? Year after year. First of all, really freaking hard. So first of all, people don't like, people underestimate it. But you guys now have the opportunity to go prove it again, especially like you said, like, nobody's expecting you guys to, everyone just watched however many guys just get drafted right this weekend. And everyone's like, oh, well, they're going to take a huge dip, right? Well, now you got a chance to go prove it again and have the target on your back, especially when you look at what Ohio State has done this offseason, right? So
it's going to be fun. I'm fired up. So it makes me just talk about it, I get juiced. So
all right, I got one more to leave it on a light note here. In your house, who would you like? Who's the messiest guy by far?
Come on, Justin. We're not going to burn bridges here, but I think you know the answer to that.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
I'm not gonna put anyone out there, but I will say the people who take the trash out the most in this house are me and Peyton O'Leary. So I'm just gonna leave that as it is, and we'll see if they listen deep enough into this podcast to understand what I'm saying there. We keep it tight. We don't mess around. The trash gets. We are. I would say in terms of if you surveyed every single house in Ann Arbor, every residency,
yep,
we would be dorm room, apartment, house, whatever. We're in the top 15%, 15
of all houses, like
yes.
all student housing.
Yep, 100. I would
think so. I don't know.
I'll die on that hill.
That's impressive.
I've been to one college house in Ann Arbor. It's my wife's cousin.
Just drive around and look at what's
immaculate. It's true.
I feel you. No, I mean, you guys listen. It's you guys have good vibes in there.
Say we're in the top 5 to 10% of like men's houses.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was kind of getting at. Okay, I could get on board with that.
I think we're definitely in that category. I would say.
Well, okay. I don't have a question. This is just a statement, but Davis, want you to know that when NCAA comes back out, I'm going to make you 99 everything, and we're going to win the Heisman with you. So, look forward to that.
That'll be fun. I don't really play video.
Are you going to be in it? Did you sign everything?
Yeah, I didn't pull an Arch Manning, so I'll be
there. It's not a diva. Breaking news.
Yeah, not a diva. It'll be. Like I said, I'm not a big video game guy. But I will be playing that a little bit, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, our baby is due like right around the time that comes out, so I'm gonna have to foxhole guy, right? Like I'm gonna have to finesse a way to be able to play it. So
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm picturing you, baby, in the carrier.
Bjorn, yeah, baby Bjorn,
and it's 3 a.m. and you're on duty, and you're just kind of rocking back and forth, playing. You got the headphones in, or maybe you just have the volume off, and you're just hoping, like when you turn on the Xbox, the sound isn't too loud.
Yes.
And maybe stays asleep, and you're in there just ripping the sticks and operating the offense and leading this team to a night.
Absolutely. Justin, I probably told you that exact scenario is of how I envision it. So, Davis, we're on the same page, man.
Yeah, send me a picture when that happens.
Absolutely.
All right, Davis Warren, certified foxhole guy. We're now foxhole guys too. We might have to trademark that and put out a shirt.
I'm putting that in my Twitter bio, and just be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
You should.
Part of Davis Warren's foxhole. That is that's the new Blue by 90 Twitter bio.
Yep,
for sure.
I love it. I love
it. You're the man. You know that we've been blessed to gotten close with you and everything that's come about since we first talked, 2-3 years ago, something like that. It's pretty cool to see how far you've come. And now, like you said, competing for a starting job for a national championship program. I mean, that's not many people can say that. So pretty awesome, man. Proud of you.
Awesome. And I appreciate the support from all you guys. So we'll keep rolling.
All right, we'll stay on the front lines on Twitter, defending you till the death. So with that, you can follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Blue by 90 Podcast on YouTube, and blueby90.com. We appreciate you. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue. There it is.